Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Forensic Innovations webinar. I'm Fred Shaw, and I'm the Director of Business Development for Forensic Innovations. We're excited about what we'll be telling you about today. I have just a few administrative things to go over with you. If you would place your phones on mute, that would be helpful so that there's no feedback during the meeting. And also, you'll see on your system there that you have the ability to chat. And if you have a question during the meeting, write your question into the chat and send it, and we'll answer the chat at the end of the presentation. So the agenda for today is, once we're through with introductions, we'll talk about the product roadmap, the new products that are coming, and talk about where we're going as a company. And then at the end of that presentation, which will be about 20 minutes, there'll be a question and answer period. So at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce you to Rob Zernstein. Rob is the CEO of the company. He's also the founder of the company and has been the architect and developer of the products that you've been using for so long. So, Rob, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Fred, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our meeting this morning, our webinar. And I'm just going to go through the roadmap and talk a little bit about what this FID3 is and what it means and why we chose it. And then we'll I'm open for questions at the end. And so what is FID3? Well, FI stands for Forensic Innovations. So we shortened it because that is a really long name and a really long brand name and domain name for a website. So we were looking for a way to shorten that and make our brand and our logo simpler. So here we have FI. And then also D3. What does that stand for? Well, it's dark data discovery. There's 3 Ds. And really we see that as, really it's been our approach ever since we've started the business, as we are searching out the dark data and then enabling our clients to do the same with the products that we provide. So we are not a service company, we are a product company. And our only focus is to provide these technologies and products to service providers and investigators and large corporations to be able to do things for themselves and find what is valuable to them that has been missing. So that takes me into what is dark data. Dark data is pretty much important information that has been lost or is hiding. So, for example, I've picked a picture of an ocean splash at the bottom, and really what I see is the ocean has this massive area in its depths that has gone, for the most part, unexplored. There's dark areas there that really we can't say definitively what is there. And in the same way with our computers and our hard drives and all our data on our servers, we have so much data, and it is growing so quickly that in the dark depths of our data are areas that are never touched, areas that we don't have access to. We don't realize they're there, and that our valuable data may be sitting there, whether we've lost it in the past or someone has intentionally removed it from our visibility in order to maybe protect themselves. So how do we approach searching for dark data? Well, whether it be file types, which is what we've become most known for, really we go for what has been unidentified by all the other products and companies out there. What is missing? And then embedded files. Imagine smuggling a file within a file, or important data within a file that doesn't belong there. And then fragmented files. The unallocated space of your hard drive. You delete a file, it gets past the recycle bin, and eventually it's not recoverable by some simple undelete utility. Now it's floating in unallocated space. There's no links to it. There's no real way to find it. There are tools out there to recover that, but they're really rudimentary. We go after defragmented files, and those tool makers will admit to you they don't recover those. So I'll go into that in more detail later. So how do we do this? File Investigator, the technology that I think most everyone on this call is familiar with already, is where we identify files. So on the picture on the right, it shows questionable files. We don't know what they are. Put them through File Investigator. Now we know what they are. And then File Expander, the second technology we've created. Some people on the call are already using that as well. That is where we take known files, put them through File Expander, and it's kind of like putting them through something that rips them all apart and shows us the valuable pieces inside. So whether that be every little object and block inside the file, or filter that out and just go for where are the embedded images, where are the embedded documents or emails within some other file type, because that's all you're going to care about when you're searching, say, in a legal case. So you can actually filter out and say, just give me those. So say in an email application with its database, the attachments. So that's, everybody does that. We're actually going after other file types that everyone else isn't processing. So, so we're going to help you find what is hiding in there. And then here's File Harvester. This is new. We're about to release it in the beginning of 2013. And as the picture shows to the right, take a hard drive, take all those fragments that are just scrambled like a jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces sitting everywhere, put it through File Harvester, and look at that. We've reassembled whole files that you would have never had access to before. And how are we putting all this together? As you see on the picture down below our software stack, we're on 3 different software platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux, and Unix. We have positioned our 3 engines to work separately yet cooperatively. So when you put it together in an API suite, you can actually, if you are a software developer, actually have all 3 of these technologies working in tune, separate threads, to be attacking the same project or the same case, and you can enjoy all of these different abilities together or separately. So let's touch on File Investigator. I realize that pretty much everyone on this call is probably very familiar with this technology. So on the right is our Investigator tool that we've really been distributing for many years. It's kind of a hardened, proven product, and it is, at this point, we've achieved the highest speed and highest accuracy, doing what we need to do in code, writing everything in C, pretty low level, and so it's efficient and it's quick. It's not an interpreted language, so it can be quicker. Now, this also extracts metadata, as many of you know, and it identifies the most file types with reasonable high quality. And it's based on the File Investigator engine. Object Explorer is about to be released in a month or 2, and this is based on the File Expander engine. So it actually has that engine sitting underneath the application and empowering it. And what this does is it reveals the file structures and potentially any files or objects that are of interest to you that are stowed away inside the file. And after developing this, we have discovered with this that there are some file types that have slack space, kind of like what you'd see around a file on a hard drive when the file doesn't fill all of its sectors. In the same way with some file formats, there's slack space, and programmers don't realize to zero that out, just like in the old days with RAM slack on the hard drive. So what could you find in slack space? That could be some parts of RAM that were grabbed in order to fill a buffer to write to the file. So that could be possibly a password or an encryption key. Or if you've deleted some data in the file, perhaps the object that has this slack is the content of a Word document and you deleted a paragraph. Wouldn't it be scary if that paragraph was sitting in the object slack and you went through tools to remove and redact all of these kinds of deleted data, and those tools don't know about object SLAC, that's scary. And to my knowledge, no one is talking about object SLAC, or in the case of Office documents, we call it stream SLAC, because all of their objects are actually streams. And so no one discusses this. No one has mentioned this is areas that we redact. So even products that say there are 29 locations in a Word document that we redact, they're missing this one. That's scary to me. So hopefully those vendors will get the news and figure out what we're doing, and we'll simply help them to do what we're helping the rest of our clients to do. Find those hidden areas within files. So on the picture on the right, this is actually an investigator tool that uses this technology, and that's the structure of a 2007 or 2010 Office PowerPoint file. And the highlighted structure or object in that file is actually an embedded EMF image file that was used in the document, so it wasn't smuggled or as a stowaway, but it's still interesting, say in an electronic discovery process where you need to pull out all the individual images or embedded files for separate inventory and Bates numbering in your case. This tool will do that for you. In fact, with this particular one, all we'd have to do is drag with the mouse that file to Explorer, Windows Explorer, and it would create it as a separate file on its own. You could go further with further analysis or inventory at that point. Now, File Harvester, this will be out early 2013. We have some beta testers working on it now, but this is based on the File Harvester engine. This is a tool, right, that you see the picture of. It's an investigator tool. What this is doing is rebuilding files that have been lost in the unallocated space of a hard drive. Now, specifically, what we target is the fragmented files. Sure, we can recover all of them, but that's what other tools are already doing. And there's many of them out there. However, what other tools are not doing is recovering fragmented files of hundreds of different file types, all the Office file types, email storage databases. Imagine, because yes, in Windows 7, it's built in that everyone is defragging their hard drive weekly. So Windows is taking care of this. However, even when you're doing it weekly, in between those times of defragmenting your hard drive, that time, any changes that you've made to any documents, they're instantly fragmented, because the operating system that Windows uses on the drive, it by default always looks for where is the first place I can store a file, not where's the first large place that I can store the entire file in a contiguous manner. So by definition, any new files you've worked on typically are fragmented. And large email databases that can hold a lot of our electronic discovery evidence, they're absolutely fragmented. They could be fragmented minutes after you finish a defragmentation session with the utility in Windows, because every time you access them, they grow. And growing databases consistently stay fragmented. So it's well known in the industry when you're trying to recover a PST file, for example, from Outlook with emails, you're pretty much not going to get the whole file, because no one knows how to defragment a PST from unallocated space. So that's what the target of File Harvester is. Now, File Deconstructor. Who wants to deconstruct a file? What this is doing is, when you have a case and you have not found your evidence, and you're left with what's in the recycle bin or the exception bin of your case. Those are all the files that even forensic innovations technologies were unable to identify. Yes, there are some of those. So when you have these files, they're possibly 5 or 10% of all the files in your hard drive can end up in the exception bin. What do you do with those? Can you look through those? Could there possibly be some evidence hiding there? Yes. So here's a tool that you can use as an investigator to go into the rest of those files. Now, normally in the industry, there's talk of decompiling files or executables, trying to figure out what they do. That's not this. This tool does not require that you are a software developer. This tool requires that you have some knowledge of file types or file structures, which is typical for an investigator nowadays, and then it uses what you understand to push you further. So it's a very visual tool. So as you notice in the column in the center that's very narrow, there's a picture there. What that is a visual representation of all the bits in that file. And you notice there's different patterns. A little bit of white at the top, a bunch of black, then this picture with a green background, and then some other structures down below. What you are seeing is a visual representation of where objects start and stop. That white space area, that's an object all by itself. The black area below it, that's one or more objects as well of a different structure. So if you look on the left, this product has already matched what that file is. Okay, so it's not a mystery. We already know what the file is. But let's pretend that this is a mysterious file and we don't have that file identification. Look a little further down. It identified what the first object is. It's a Microsoft Compound document, which means OLE2, which is an older Office file, header. So it identified the header, and if we scrolled further down, we'd see that it identified all of the other blocks down below as well. Well, it already knew it, but it was of a standard file structuring that Microsoft created for themselves and other companies to use called OLE2. But what it did is it identified all those individual objects that you see in the graphic image on the right, and then go down one window below matches, and you see objects. That's showing all the objects. There's the OLE2 header. There's the master sector allocation. There's the sector allocation, the short sector allocation. These are all structure parts. So it knew about this already. But what if this was a brand new file and it didn't know about those? It would identify where objects start and stop by the difference in patterns visually that you see and that it can detect using methods like one couple windows over on the right, the BVD window. It can actually look at the structure of an object and say, wait, that doesn't look like the previous one. I can see where it starts and stops. So it can actually divide the objects for you automatically, and then we could have put in those descriptions and some notes saying, okay, I'm dissecting this file piece by piece. But also what it could do there is, on the matches up above, it can tell you, well, this object that we pulled apart actually looks like encrypted data. Object number 2 looks like a bitmap. Object number 3 looks like compressed data. So if you're looking for something that someone's hiding and you see some encryption in a file, that might be a little suspicious. You might want to pull that file out and analyze it more. But if you're looking for, say, images that are offensive or illegal, look at this file here. Sure, it had an image in it, but that's pretty innocent. So this file could easily be ruled out quickly and without any further digging. So just by dragging and dropping the file onto this tool, seeing that visual representation, seeing that it has no other objects that talk about encryption, etc., we could just toss this one out within seconds. So imagine being able to dig through your exception bin and process through files left and right within seconds. That's unprecedented. So, and then further down below, you can actually piece together fields within each object. And so you can really create a profile for a new file structure or type that you'd never encountered before. You're not even sure what product created it or what it's even called, but you can figure out the structures with this. So this is really to handle all of the file types that we don't already natively handle. And that brings me to Profiler Portable. This is a product designed to be portable, meaning it can be on a CD-ROM or a thumb drive. You could stick it in a computer and start running it. And it doesn't need to be installed on the computer. It can be run straight off the media that you put in the computer. And so while it's running, it's analyzing all the different file types and saying in documents how many pages it has, in email databases how many emails, how many attachments. And it's showing it to you statistically here. So you could make this chart show you by files. How many documents are there? How many images? Whether it's JPEG, GIF, PNG, doesn't matter. You can just say images. Show me 25 different types of files by content, not is it Office, is it WordPerfect Office. So you can kind of take a step back and not be buried in the world of thousands of file types, but actually look at, say, 25 file categories. And what categories might you care about? Documents, maybe, email databases or emails. So you could watch this chart grow and say wait for 15 minutes, you'll have a nice chart like this, and that could tell you everything you need to know about that computer. It's profiling it. So if it's a receptionist computer, well, they shouldn't have certain types of files that are related to intellectual property in the company. But say if it's an engineer's, okay, it should have that, but maybe it shouldn't have too many image files, meaning they're spending extra time collecting images. And if your case requires you to search out for illegal images, then that might be interesting to you. So say you are given a search warrant to collect, say, 3 hard drives from a site that is related to a case. So you're out on a collection run, you're a first responder maybe, and when you get to the site, there are 10 computers with terabyte hard drives on each one. And so they're relatively new computers, and there's a lot to go through. And how can you possibly process all 10? You don't have a search warrant that supports that. You may be limited on time. What if you have 4 or 5 hours or half a day? You can't do 10 computers. So you stick a thumb drive with this tool on each one of those 10, running simultaneously. After 15, 20 minutes, you look over them. You can see which one has more bitmap or image files. You can see which one has more emails or documents. Maybe a lot of them don't have any of that. They're meant for processing of other things. You could easily rule out the computers that are non-relevant, focus on the most interesting 3, and collect from them. There, now you've collected exactly what you needed. You pinpointed the data that you needed to find. And so really this is targeted at triage, but it could also be used in a situation where you need to figure out in a corporation, is this employee doing something wrong? I don't want to actually look at their files. I just want a higher level view of what are they doing and what do they have. So down below, just to finish off this, this description is, as a first responder on the left, lower, is the screen that would open up, and it would prompt you for all the information you need to enter for chain of custody. So if this is going to be presented in court, we need to make sure we collect all this information. So you can specify which fields are required. Your first responder will have to fill them in before they can start getting this chart. So then if the computer is, that hard drive is later collected for the case, you'll have all the information at hand. And on the right, lower, is showing that there are actual trigger points that you can set. Pretty much all files, and then the list down below is actions to take on those triggers. So for all files, I'd say log them as statistical analysis. So just grab the statistics of them. But if it's a document file, collect that file. Send it to your thumb drive. Send it to a certain FTP site or Dropbox on the web, whatever works for you, or a separate connected USB hard drive, say a terabyte or 2, and have it do intelligent collection of the files it's finding that are pertinent to you. That would be useful if you don't need to image a drive, but if you're just collecting for, say, electronic discovery, pinpointing the files. So now moving from Profiler Portable, here's Enterprise Profiler. This is a little further out when we're going to be able to deliver this, but what it is it's providing those same features for the enterprise. Let your IT people insert a little agent, hidden or not, depending on what you want, kind of like a virus scanner on every computer of a corporation. You can taper down the activity of it so it's not competing with the processing power of each computer, but each computer then is providing the statistical analysis to the cloud, whether that be a private cloud or a public cloud. Small businesses, they probably wouldn't mind a public cloud, say Azure, excuse me, and let Azure collect it all in an encrypted fashion and present all the statistic analysis that you see on the right for your small business. But large companies and government organizations, they would want a private cloud. They want it on their own server within their network. That's understandable. So what they will get is a dashboard. You could be looking at the data of your entire corporation or entire organization in the government and be able to see definitively how much space are we using up for Word documents, image files, emails, and how many individual records. So for a document, that would be pages. For emails, that would be individual emails and or attachments. And so with that knowledge, you can get a full picture of what do we have in our organization, and then what parts of that are actually stored on servers that are backed up nightly or on individual notebook computers that are mobile and not getting backed up and at threat of being stolen and intellectual property lost forever. So as a IT person, it helps them better police their users to do the right thing, to check things into document management. Now, in a legal case, say for example, our company is constantly updating these statistics and knowing what our users have. Whoops, we're hit by a legal case. What do? Well, it's an employee that left the company, and there's 3 other employees that work closely with them. They're disgruntled. Those 3 other employees will be involved in the case. We'll need to collect data from their computers. We have to go through the e-discovery process on that to be able to defend ourselves. Well, what if on this product you could say, let's target those 3 users. Let's look at the statistics collectively of those 3 users. What does that tell us? How many document pages? How many email pages? Now, if we had to collect, now we know statistically how much is going to be collected of all the data they have, and in review, how many pages will probably need to be reviewed. And we know that that can be the most expensive part of the electronic discovery process. So now we have a worst case assessment of what it's going to cost to do the electronic discovery side of this case. What if that's $2 million? What if they have a lot of data? And what if the settlement of the case could be something like $1 million or less? Well, this, within minutes, printing a report, taking it to the boardroom for this important discussion, you could have the answer. You could be the person that shines and says, we need to settle, and here's why. And I've just backed up myself with statistics. Most people want to settle. They don't want to go through a case. It's great to have statistical analysis to back you up on, yes, that is the right decision. It'll cost us less to settle. So this, and then also, this can collect information from many other sources. Say if you're heading into a document management system and you want to know about what kind of abilities it needs to do, what kind of documents do you have, what you're going to need to deal with, you can either ask users or look at these statistics. It already tells you every single file type, how many files, storage size, records inside them are in each person's computer. You can see that one department has one set of needs, another department has another. You can use this as a needs assessment. So there are a number of uses to knowing your data in your corporation and getting a handle on it. So all of these products actually come together into a single architecture. So on the bottom you see the API suite that I discussed earlier. And then one layer up, that's what we're providing now. The Profiler Portable, File Harvester, File Investigator, Object Explorer, and File Deconstructor. All of these 5 products are built on the API suite. Some of them use just one of the engines. And products like File Deconstructor use all of them. So this is the products that we're selling now, and in the near future, Enterprise Profiler will come in on top. Enterprise Profiler is really the umbrella. It's doing everything itself with the engine's support, but it also calls in the individual smaller tools when you need to dig a little deeper. So it'll be one encompassing package. So really there's licensing levels at all levels. You could be an Enterprise Profiler user and you'd have it all. You'd be user of one or more of those tools licensed, and those you'd have all the power of our entire API suite. And you could also be licensing the API suite, and there you have the same abilities that all of our products have, being able to put those into your own products. And then our pricing, it has not actually changed for File Investigator, other than the fact that our maintenance and support is now separate from the initial licensing fees. So File Investigator 250, Profiler Portable, and Object Explorer really are built on the technologies that we've already recovered R&D costs for, so they're reasonably priced. Now, File Harvester and File Deconstructor are built on technologies that we've put a lot of R&D into, and they're really one-of-a-kind products in the industry at this point. So while we're not priced up high as far as like the leading tools that people use today, we have put it at $750 to recover our R&D costs and to match the value that we believe we're providing. And the API suite is licensed separately. The pricing on that is really more of a one-on-one conversation to understand your needs and tailor that license agreement to your individual needs. So with that said, Fred, I'm going to hand it back to you, and we're open to any questions.
Okay, Rob, thank you. I appreciate that. That was an outstanding briefing and good explanation of our product strategy. There were a few questions that have come in through our audience, and I passed them on to you. Can you see those there?
Yes, I see it. Thank you. Let's see, a more detailed discussion on file harvester. Well, we're actually in the process of completing the patent on that one, so we're a little tight-lipped on some of the details, but yes, in a one-on-one situation, we'd be happy to talk to you about how file harvester does, what it's doing, and what it means to you as far as what can you get that you couldn't get before out of unallocated space. So yes, we'd be happy to have that conversation. Simply setting up a meeting with Fred. His email address is fred@FID3.com. That's where we're using our new short domain name. And I see another question, Fred. Let's see, will we be able to test the new products by downloading them from your site? Yes. We provide, really we believe in the try before you buy model. So even with our APIs, we allow a company to have a certain period of time to try them out and see if they fit their needs. And then that's when we want to actually talk about licensing with you and really so that we are sure that it fits your need. Or if it doesn't yet, then we can always talk about what features need to be added. And then I see another question, Fred. Let's see. Will it be possible to test a beta version of your new products? Yeah, you know what? We'd be happy to talk to you about that. We do have some beta testers that we've been working with, and they kind of know our products, and maybe it would be good to get a fresh new impression as well. So we're always open to adding beta testers, and so if you are interested in that, feel free to contact us. You could contact me at rob@FID3.com as well, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that and work out an agreement there. Let's see. I saw those 3 questions, Fred. Did you see any others yet?
No, I don't have any others from the audience at this time.
Okay, I think this is good. Maybe we'll wait another minute to see if somebody's typing and let them type in a question. And
okay.
Oh, here's one. Why is there a circle or a sphere under FI? Well, what we were looking for is really forensic innovations has been around for years. However, at this point, we're bringing together all of our technologies into, really like a full circle, 360-degree. We've combined them all together to encompass one solution. So, say in our file deconstructor, this is one product using all 3 technologies in order to handle what it's doing. So really marrying all of these dark data digging technologies to really definitively find the data that's hiding from you. So I like the idea of a sphere, and then off on the right we wanted to also add that the dark data discovery and really be able to have a branding that shows that you can look at it and say, oh, okay, it's about computer data and it's about data that's in the dark. So really from those 3 words, we're actually describing what it is we do. And so I think that was much more descriptive than forensic innovations. Well, Fred, do you see any other questions?
I don't have any more at this point.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone, and thank you, Fred, for facilitating this webinar. And we welcome you to join us for more webinars in the future.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a good day.